You're not the person you were 10 years ago or five. Like, I moved to Dallas 4.5 years ago. I am not the same person I was when I moved here. I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago. And so really finding clothes that fit who you are now and what your life looks like.
Welcome to the Values Exchange podcast. I'm Mike Cruz, your host, author of Saturday Every Day, private pilot, and CEO of North Texas Wealth Management, a firm dedicated to values-based financial planning. Well, they say clothes don't make the person, but if you've ever walked into the room and felt underdressed, we've all experienced that's not quite true. So today's guest, we're talking about how to dress with authenticity and what it really stands for and what your clothes say about you before you say anything. First impressions are powerful. And so here to help us make the best impression, my guest today, Elisa Ellis.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. It's great. So, I was looking at your bio, super impressive. Founder of Turnkey Style in Frisco, Texas. Looking at, wardrobes, and you're the expert. And I know you just wrote your book here. We have The Style Advantage. And I love that it says, you're saying what HR,
I say what HR can't
tell you, right? Yeah, we're going to dig all into that. But I know you've been featured on, ABC, CNN Underscored, the Wall Street Journal, U.S. News. I mean, you're the expert and even creator of the ABC Style Strategy. And so we're going to dig in all that today. But I thought for fun, I was getting ready for our podcast this morning, and I put in, and normally I don't even give it two thoughts. I just get dressed and come to the podcast. But first impressions are powerful. So, All right, give it to me straight. I wore jeans today, which I usually don't
great.
do.
I even commented on your shoes when I came in. No, and it's true. You really have less than 7 seconds to make a first impression, and what you wear matters. I know a lot of people think that it doesn't make a difference, but when you're trying to get to that next level, and that's really what made me write the book, it's all about how do you get to that next level, and your style truly can give you an advantage, especially now in this what I call post-COVID world, where a lot of people have gotten stuck in athleisure wear or comfy, which I get has a place. But if you're meeting a new client, are you going in sweats or athleisure wear?
Right.
Probably not. You want to make a good first impression. You want them to know that you're the expert. And so what does that look like? And for everybody, it's a little bit different. There's no one and done. When I first started my business, everybody's like, okay, give me the 5 things I need. Give me the 10 things I need.
Yeah.
Well, depends on your life and your lifestyle, right? Do you have kids? Do you work in the office 5 days a week? Are you caregiving for somebody? Do you travel a lot? That looks different for people. Some days it's jeans, some days it's suits, some days it's something else. And so that's really what I help people do, is help them figure out, what does that look like for you? And then as a business owner, how do you want your team showing up so that if they're out seeing clients, you're not horrified and embarrassed? Or if they're on a Zoom call, they didn't pop on with their hair still wet or wearing a graphic shirt that's inappropriate.
Okay.
And how do you want your brand to be remembered?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was kind of where my mind went first. Was things looked a lot different before COVID. And in fact, I would say even for our organization, we were a little bit more casual. And I had this experience where I went to New York. I met with the CEO of a big company in a boardroom, famous boardroom. I mean, the chair I was sitting in was like $20,000. I mean, it was ridiculous. And everybody in New York is, basically like black suits dressed to the nines. I always remember a professor that I had who wore black like every day. He's from Brooklyn, and he says black is pastel in Brooklyn. It's like, just the style. So, I went there, and I kind of came back with this idea that like we need to kind of up our game, and we started wearing ties and suits, and we did that for years, and then along came COVID.
Right.
And since then, I've kind of enjoyed not wearing a tie. I really kind of got rid of the ties after COVID. Is that what you're seeing?
Yes. And it's gone even further than that. It's not the tie. Now I'm wearing not just sneakers. So jeans. You can put jeans in your guidelines or just have jeans, but some people's interpretation is ripped jeans or jeans with holes in them, or sneakers that I run in, or sneakers that I do my gardening work in. And so suddenly there's this backslide into, instead of being business casual or business professional, you're really looking kind of janky and not showing up as the professional you truly are. And someone might view you, well, wait, you're the financial expert, or you're the accountant, or if you're not willing to pay attention to your own details, why am I paying you to pay attention to my details? That's really where it all comes from. And the other challenge is there's a certain culture, right? Pre-COVID, you could walk into any office and you would know what the culture was. You would know what you were expected to wear. Nowadays, you can walk into an office and it's kind of a mishmash of, well, this person doesn't see clients, so they get to do the dress for your day policy. But this person who might see clients doesn't know that this person doesn't. And so they wear what the lowest common denominator is typically. And so that's the angst of, well, HR doesn't want to say anything because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want there to be a discrimination lawsuit. I don't want to fill in the blank. And I grew up in a time where if you wore something inappropriate, you were called into an office and told to go home and not wear that again, or don't wear that again, right? Like change, don't, but nobody wants to be that person anymore. And the other challenge is, if you had young employees and they graduated college, worked from home during COVID, they don't know what they think the dress code is supposed to be. If you tell a room full of people business casual, let's say 40 people, 40 different people are going to have different ideas about what business casual is.
Right.
And so really it's about, what does that look like for the individual and how does it change how you show up? When you wear something that's not authentic for you, like right now, if you were to have to wear a 3-piece suit, a tie, vest, all of those things, it'd be probably uncomfortable if you had to have the shirt buttoned all the way to the top, and right? Like you wouldn't feel, and what happens is when you wear something that's not authentic or comfortable to yourself, you literally shrink on yourself. Versus if you put something on you feel good in,
casual,
that's authentic, whether it's casual, whatever it is, right? You're going to stand taller. And the energy that you project and bring to your day is completely different than if you're like tugging at yourself and not really sure what's going on because you're so uncomfortable.
Right.
It's a different energy that you bring to your day, to your clients, to the work that you're working on.
If I had to wear a tie right now, I'd probably just start asking you legal questions.
Right. Like it just changes.
Real serious.
That's really, it drives home the point of what you wear affects how you show up. And there's actually research that shows they took men who dressed in sweats and men who dressed in suits. And they did mock negotiations. The men who were dressed in sweats sold about 600,000. The men who were dressed in suits sold about 2.1 million.
Wow.
So it's almost 3 times as much. And it changed their thought patterns. The men who were dressed in sweats had trouble making decisions, gave up more in negotiations. The men who were dressed in suits had no trouble making decisions, acted and thought like CEOs, and they gave up less in negotiations. So we think that what we wear doesn't really matter, but it does.
It does. Yeah. And it is interesting because when you say, like, sometimes I go to these meetings and they'll say it's for business professional or business casual. And it's like, you have that moment where like, well, what does that mean? It's a pretty broad spectrum. So
absolutely.
How do people go about kind of managing those expectations of what does it mean?
So I always guide my clients. It's better for you to look like the expert, feel authentic in whatever that looks like, and maybe raise the bar a little, right? Like for example, I have a client who is a consultant for CEOs. Okay, she goes to manufacturing plants, she goes to office buildings, but depending on where she's at, she's either wearing the Brooks Brothers suit or something more casual. Like if she's going to a manufacturing plant, she's going to wear slacks, probably a pair of sneakers or flats, and a top, some type of blouse. She'll bring her jacket, but she won't wear it because she doesn't want to intimidate people, but she also still needs to show up as the expert. Okay. So she's going to wear what she feels good in and knows that if she shows up, people will still believe that, you're the person we need to talk to, right? So I really want people to feel authentic in what they're doing, but not look like a schlep, right? You always want to look like the expert. So here's another great example. I just met with someone in Austin. Actually, they were in LA, but they have a business in Austin. They're the CEO of their company. They are dealing with higher end clients now, and they know they need to up their game because they're charging a premium for their service.
Mhm.
They were wearing a branded polo and jeans when I met them, and we were in a group of hundreds of their potential clients. I said, you have points for wearing the branded polo and the nice jeans, but if you want to level things up, could you have put on a sport jacket?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, right? And would that still feel authentic to you? Yes. And the how you are now appearing in front of your ideal clients,
Mm.
offering a premium service, charging a premium service, you now probably look more like the CEO than someone who's
Mm.
just coming in to do the work.
Right.
And so that slight change can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah. And I think, from an HR perspective, it is a really difficult thing being like an employer
Right.
to coach your employees. And we say, we want to be professional. And truthfully, the team that I have now, it's kind of just a non-issue.
That's a good thing.
And we're also a team that we could talk about it.
Right.
And it's like, we actually have those conversations about, like what should the expectations be and all of
Sure.
those things. But I would say, years ago, I've had employees that would show up and not look what I would call just work ready, right? Whether it was like, they just didn't seem to do anything with their hair and they just kind of looked like they
Right.
rolled out of bed. And all of a
Exactly.
sudden they're representing the company. And it's a really awkward position, especially for a male to be telling a female you're not work ready.
Right.
Nobody wants to be in that spot. And so the way I framed it at the time was, hey, if we were going to do pictures today, would you be picture ready?
Right.
And the answer was no. Well, then you're not ready for work because we need to be, have that presence,
Right.
professionalism and all of that. So I was trying to frame it in a way that I'm not sitting here critiquing every little part
Sure.
of, the
Absolutely.
outfit. I don't think that's beneficial.
And that's a great that you couched it. That was a great way to, talk about that subject. And it was interesting because you had Neil on recently and he talked about having hard conversations. And that's really what this is nobody wants to have the hard conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I couch it is, hey, look, leadership is really invested in you. I want to see you grow with the company. They want to see you grow with the company. One of those things is you need to be more front and center as a representative of the company. And this is what our expectation is. This is what we need from you. And this is how we're going to mentor you moving forward. This is how you're going to meet those next levels. So it's really, hey, let's turn it into an empowering conversation instead of like what you said.
Yeah.
I don't want to be critiquing someone about the
Right.
jeans or the sneakers. It's, hey, the overall look is this is my expectation because I really want to invest in you and see you grow with the company.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody wins, right? And I hear that a lot from leaders is you don't look ready. You look like you rolled out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get my team to show up so they recognize this is a big deal? Yeah. And so really it's about empowering them. We want to get you to the next level. This is one of the pieces, just like anything else that we expect from you. And then at least it gives the managers and leaders, they see who steps up.
Mm-hmm.
And then there might be people who don't step up. And so maybe those people aren't client facing anymore, or they need to go to a different role, or you just know, okay, I'm not going to invest my time in them because they don't want to grow with the team. They have another path, whatever that looks like. But at least everybody's on the same playing field and they know what's expected of them.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, definitely sometimes that's an uncomfortable
It's
conversation.
But absolutely.
I like that approach. Yeah. So you've seen thousands of people walk into the room. Your experience prior to being the wardrobe expert was really with event planning.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
I was an event planner with Stanford University for almost 20 years.
Wow.
And I did small events with 30 people and high-end people in government. And I did events with 1,200 people. And I think the biggest one was 1,200 with Margaret Thatcher. So,
wow.
But people, again, always showed up as their best selves,
Mm-hmm.
right? These are people in various levels of position and wealth, and they always showed up presentable. And I feel like it was, again, pre-COVID, but you still have that situation. And it says something like, what do you want to say? 93% of communication is nonverbal. And so when you walk into a room, you're speaking without saying a word. And so how do you want to show up as that person? And what you're wearing is part of that. So you mentioned earlier, you went to New York, everyone wears black. That's kind of the norm, the black, the gray, the navy. And when I'm working with clients and with companies, how do you want to stand out? What makes you memorable, right? What does that look like for you? For some people, I know some people men who wear socks, they're funky socks. They have their kids' faces on them. They have polka dots, well, you name it. Someone have jewelry, some it's shoes. I know people who have cowboy boot collections, sneaker collections, ties, pocket squares, you name it. What makes you memorable so that when someone walks away from your conversation, they're like, oh, I remember this person. I need to keep them top of mind. And so I try and get people out of that black, brown, navy. Because you want to be memorable and top of mind so that when someone says, I need a financial planner, or you know what, I have this great guy, he's going to talk to you about what your values are. He's going to get you on the right path. You're the person that they think of, not, I don't know who to call.
Yeah. Okay. So what about the person that's like, that all sounds great, but man, fashion, not my thing.
Right.
I'm really good at my job. I have no idea what to wear. And then also that sounds great, but it sounds expensive, right? To put that best foot forward, to get maybe an entire new wardrobe.
Right.
So talk to me kind of about what could be done there. And do you see employers actually saying you need to step up your wardrobe and actually supporting that financially? Or is that kind of like you're on your own?
Some have certain things that they offer, yes, and some are you're on your own. But when I work with companies, I really try and provide, my belief is, and I talk about it in the book, is a capsule wardrobe. 3 tops, 3 bottoms, 3 layering pieces, and 1 special piece. And that works for men and women, whether it's a sports jacket, a vest, a polo shirt, a dress shirt, whatever, or jeans, slacks, shorts, whatever it is. And you can do it on budget. I've put together complete wardrobes of 10, 11 pieces for $1,000 that turn into 40, 50 different outfits. So it's really about finding pieces that work for your life and lifestyle, whether you want them to be washable, dry clean, and there's certain color schemes, right? So brown's a great neutral. It goes with a lot of different things, and just helping people do that on a budget. The other thing is I really try and help people create new outfits using what they already have. Most people. So one of the questions I ask when I'm working with big corporations, especially if I'm in a room full of people, is how many people have clothes in their closet from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, right? Like you probably have pieces maybe that you're not wearing from 10 years ago. You're hanging on to them because, well, I might wear that to whatever event. But the reality is, are you the same person you were 10 years ago or 5 years ago or 2 years ago? You're probably not, because we're all either personally or professionally trying to grow and be better and learn. I mean, that's part of why you have this podcast, right? You want to be learning from other people. And so it's about, 1, giving them permission to let go of what's not working for them and figure out, okay, I love this jacket. I want more of these. I love these pants. I want more of those. And building on what you have. And maybe just finding the right size, because we're all trying to lose the last 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever that looks like for someone. And just being good with starting with where you're at. And so you don't have to buy the whole new wardrobe. It's, hey, how about if I buy a top or 2? And that'll really expand my wardrobe and the outfits that I have just by adding these 2 new pieces. Or maybe I add a sports jacket. Okay, that's going to help me wear these shirts more often. Or a new pair of jeans that fits me, that's dark wash, so I don't look like a hot mess when I show up at the office.
And I think it's hanging on to those things. Like, I bought a turtleneck.
Right.
I'm never going to wear it.
Okay, so
But
why
there's
is
that moment, like,
right.
I'm hanging on to it because I've never worn it. And I'm like, well, if I ever need a turtleneck, I don't know when I would ever need one. But it's not my thing, right?
Exactly. And so what I suggest to people is find a shelter. There is someone who is leaving a relationship, starting a new job, looking for a new job. They're going to fit into whatever it is you're giving up.
Okay.
And it's going to fit them perfectly. And you're then helping that person on their journey, right? It's like, instead of just tossing it, which you can do, if you've never worn it, it's brand new, It's going to fit somebody else perfectly, and they're going to think it's amazing because it's their style, not your style.
No, that's true. Yeah. And, there's a lot of different charities out there.
Yeah.
You can donate suits to
Absolutely.
help, veterans that are now needing to,
get back into the workforce.
Right.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. And then another thing that I heard that I really liked was just buying clothes that fit your body versus trying to change your body to fit your clothes.
Right. Yes, we spend our lives, most people, trying to fit into the clothes. But the reality is, like I said, you're not the person you were 10 years ago or 5. Like, I moved to Dallas 4.5 years ago. I am not the same person I was when I moved here. I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago.
Mm.
And so really finding clothes that fit who you are now and what your life looks like. I'm now an empty nester. I never used to wear white because I had 2 boys in the house. Well, I have a pair of white jeans now because, right, my life looks different than it did a few years ago. And so figuring out what that looks like, and sometimes it's just about giving people permission or yourself permission. Okay, let me buy one pair of pants, one sports jacket, and then if you're working on your weight loss journey, I suggest to people get rid of the clothes that are not working, put them in a closet, check on them at 30, 60, and 90 days. And usually what happens is if you remove them from your closet, you've forgotten about them, kind of like the things in your garage. You don't worry about them. And then that attachment that you have to them is not so strong, and it's easier to get rid of them and let go of them.
Nice. I like that. Yep. So, ABC strategy.
Yes.
What is that?
So I really believe that showing up as your best self is really about showing up authentically, on brand, and with confidence. All of those pieces together just will help you get to that next level that you're looking for, right? Being authentic really, to me, means is finding clothes that you're comfortable and confident in. There's a difference, like you said, when you put something on in the morning and it really doesn't fit and you're trying to make it work and you take it off, probably hang it back up because I like the turtleneck. I'm never going to wear this. I don't know why it's in my closet. And you put something else on. That's going to change how you show up during the day. On brand is how can you be memorable? The confidence piece is really what I feel is the most important. And it was more clear to me than ever. I gave a presentation at a security firm. Most of the people were ex-military. And so I asked, what's the difference between when you put on your regular uniform and your dress uniform? And one of the guys stood up. He's like, it's called command presence. Like that. That's what you want to show up with every day because there's a difference. We all have not all. When I speak to groups, it's usually 98%, 99%. And I ask, do you have a power suit? Oh, yeah. Like when I want to close a client, when I'm giving a presentation, whatever it is, that's what I put on. Do you wear that every day? Usually not. So it's about having a closet full of those types of pieces, whether it's a suit, a nice pair of jeans, a blouse, a sport coat, whatever it is. You want those pieces because it's going to change how you show up. And there's research that shows that clothes literally change our thinking, our attention span, all the things. And that's going to be the game changer in your business. If you're trying to get to the next level, it's giving you an advantage.
How important is the brand of clothing do you leverage the brand of clothing to give you that, oh, look at the nice whatever?
If that's important to you, but I don't necessarily, I shop for people every place from factory store to Neiman's and everything in between. What I think is more important is the fit. Okay. You can have all the brands and logos. In fact, I was at a store the other day. The woman had so many brands on, I couldn't even, there was no place to focus, right? All the things, popping logos everywhere, and nothing fit quite right. And so instead of looking put together, it was a scattered mess and she looked disheveled. So that doesn't say you're the expert to me. It just says you like spending a lot of money on clothes.
Right. Okay.
It's really more about, does it fit you properly? How do you feel in it? Is it changing how you feel? If the brand's important to you, great. But really it's about showing up well-groomed, put together. Does the fit right? Does it fit right? The guy from Shark Tank, Damon John, he said when he had no money, he had one suit. And when he would go to pitch meetings, he would park his car around the corner because it was an old jalopy. He didn't want anybody to see it. he would press his suit, his one suit, to a T. It wasn't a brand name suit. It was just one suit. And he would go to those meetings, but he felt sharp because his suit was pressed. He was put together. And so that's really what it's about, is looking put together versus how much money you spend on clothes, what labels you're wearing, all of those things, right? You could have all the labels in the world, but if you're wrinkled and you look like you rolled out of bed, are people really going to be impressed? Probably not.
Yeah, I've been quite surprised at the number of interviewees. You know, you have interviews for a job and they come in for the job and you're like, you know, wow, you're not interview ready at all. And you couldn't even wear that if I hired you.
Right.
It's always kind of shocking. And I think
there's a
growing
disconnect.
trend.
Yes, absolutely. There's an absolute disconnect between what management and leadership feels is interview ready, presentable, business casual, business professional, and what I would say the younger, sometimes mostly younger generation feels is business casual, business ready. And it's really a disconnect, and it's a communication disconnect. And again, just being able to say, hey, if we onboard you, this is my expectation and this is what we require. And some will be like, yeah, sure. But again, you see them as they walk in the door and you don't even want to bother because they didn't make the effort.
Right.
And again, it's that they weren't willing to pay attention to their own details. So why am I going to spend the time to pay attention with it? You know, to give them time. They didn't think it was important. And, it's challenging. I've heard both arguments. Well, you should tell the person they could be really fantastic. Okay, that's a definite. If you feel the person's really fantastic, that's great. But it's another barrier to get to even have the conversation to find out if they're fantastic, because in your view, they didn't make the effort. And it's just a great example of how you show up is a form of communication.
Right. Well, I'm glad you said that, because it's not so much, I mean, it's one, how are you going to represent the company? And not that it's not coachable, but there's that underlying feeling that, well, if you're missing these details and you're unaware that this is important, what else are you unaware of, or what do I not know? Right. And that makes the person hiring, uncomfortable.
It's challenging. Absolutely. And so, I've heard different takes on both, but I think when you're willing to do the research and, because this has happened. I've heard about a company who this gal was interviewing somebody, and that happened. The person who showed up for the interview was a hot mess. It was a high-end insurance company. And this other woman at the table said, well, why wouldn't you coach them so they knew? And this person said, but they didn't even take the time to bother to learn that my clients are high-end clients, and they should have known.
Yeah.
Showing up to the interview if they want to impress me. So it was an interesting conversation. And so I think each individual has to decide, do you want to spend the time to coach this person or not? Or do you want to move on to the next?
Yeah. Where you don't have to spend your time coaching that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's a great example of a barrier to entry, right? If you're trying to get to that next level, are you showing up as that person now, or are you waiting to get to the next level to show up as that person?
Yeah.
And that goes back to the authenticity piece of it. What does your wardrobe look like, and where are you going? And is your wardrobe going to take you to where you're going? You want to go.
Makes sense. So if I were to invite you to my closet and say, all right, help me sort through this. What do I keep? What do I not keep?
Right.
How would you kind of go about dissecting the closet and donating?
So we talk about what you physically wear on a regular basis. I typically have clients, every time you wear something, turn the hanger around and put the hanger backwards. And after 30 to 60 days, you'll see what you're wearing on repeat and what you're not.
I like that.
Now, I get that where we live, it's seasonal. So, there's days where it's months where it's over 100 degrees and you're not going to wear your sweaters. But when fall and winter comes, like the turtleneck, you knew off the top, you're not going to wear it. So that would be something that goes. And we go through that process. I also encourage my clients to try on the pieces, because I want to see, are you futzing with it, or are you standing taller? Does it fit you properly, or are you trying to make it work and it's just not who you are anymore? And so we start to go through those pieces. And then you might say, well, I have this jacket, but I really don't know what to wear with it. I had this one shirt and now So how can we create new outfits using that jacket, and go through those pieces. And that's really how I help people figure out what they're wearing and what they're not. Because we typically have pieces that we're not wearing anymore. We think we need new ones, but we don't give ourselves permission to buy the new until we get rid of the old. Because I could make that work. But really what happens is you put it on and then you take it off because you don't like the fit. It's scratchy. It's uncomfortable.
Right.
It's not the right fabric. It's too hot for whatever it is, right? So it just keeps staying there, and you don't buy the new because, well, you have all these
Right.
that you're gonna, and you're a financial person, right? So sometimes I say to people, in fact, I just did it. I was in Austin this week. Well, I spent a lot of money on that piece. Okay, so take the amount of money that you spent on that piece and hang it on the hanger, and leave it in your closet. Would you ever do that?
No.
No. So why not donate it or resell it or whatever works for you?
Yeah.
Because
if you're not wearing it, it's not helping you.
Right. Exactly. Right. As a financial person, you would never leave that money hanging in your closet. I mean, there are a number of different things you can do with it besides leave it in your closet.
Yeah. And what about the person that's maybe willing to change their wardrobe and they realize they need to kind of step it up, do something different, and they're just, maybe the first reaction isn't confidence. It's feeling kind of fake or uncomfortable, but everybody else is going, oh my gosh, that looks phenomenal. And that's how you should dress. And what if there's not comfortable? How do you address that?
So I would say those pieces aren't authentic to you.
Okay.
So I do this often. People think they're supposed to wear X, Y, and Z, right? Yeah. But that's not really authentic to them. So when I have people, I could put someone in the perfect outfit, but I want them to try it on and see how they feel in it. If they're not feeling it, it's not the right outfit for them. And then we work to find something that is, because I don't care if someone says, I mean, this is how I work. I don't care if someone says, this is what you're supposed to wear. If it doesn't feel good to you and you're shrinking when you show up, then that's not the right outfit for you. Let's figure out whether it's a fabric, a color, a size, a style. We'll find something else that fits you, because that's what matters most versus just putting you in the box and checking it.
Yeah.
That doesn't really, and that's why everybody's a little bit different, right? I have clients that only wear certain fabrics, only wear certain brands, and some are like, I don't care so long as it fits me. I try and put people in different colors because I think it helps people stand out more if you're in color, and it makes you more memorable.
Okay.
And whether that's a shirt, shoes, like my glasses, everybody has something different that they can bring to the table, and I try and help them figure out what that is.
I like that. That's nice. And sizes are interesting because...
Oh, there's no sizing standards.
There's no sizing standards. I was just thinking about that. I was like, gosh, can we just decide, globally, like what the sizes are? Yeah. You try on a medium, and then I'm enlarging this one. And all of a sudden I ran into a shirt and I was like, I've never worn a small, but the medium's too big. And I'm just like, it's...
And that goes back to the not trying to fit into the clothes, because clothes are made everywhere. Thailand, Taiwan, China, India, you name
Vietnam.
It, they are made there. And every one of those brands, every one of those companies has a different sizing standard. And then you translate it into, or it's like crazy. Like I can go into any given store, try on, let's just say J. Crew, for example, try on 2 tops at J. Crew. They will fit me, same size, same brand, same store. They will fit me completely. One, I won't be able to get on over my head. And the other will be, I will be swimming in it.
Right.
And then if there might be a third that fits me, fine. So it just depends on what factory it's being made at and where it's being made.
Right.
And so really, I try and encourage people to try in multiple sizes. A lot of people don't like to pay shipping. It's, in my view, it's easier to order online because the stores post-pandemic carry much larger selection online than they do in store.
Yeah.
The department stores and smaller brands got stuck with a lot of product during the pandemic in store, right? All of that's on their books. As a financial person, you get this, right?
Yeah.
Like you have inventory, it goes on your books. So they can leave most of their product online. It'll go straight from the distributor. So you have a much larger selection online than you do in the store.
Okay.
So I say, think of the shipping fee, if there is one, as the gas that you would spend, the gas and the time that you would spend driving to the store and driving back.
Okay. I like that.
And so it allows you to buy multiple sizes so you can try on different sizes, because in any given size or brand, it can be one can fit, one cannot. Like even Peter Millar, right? It's a higher end brand. They have like 3 different styles. One is a looser fit, one is a super loose, one is a trim fit. So depending on which shirt, and if you don't know that, you could try on a shirt and think, oh, this is great, fits me perfectly, and then go buy another one, but it happens to be the other style.
Right.
And if you don't know that they have this other style, you're like, wait, what happened? This doesn't fit me.
I love that you brought that up, because that's my favorite brand. I figured out exactly. I was like, oh, I know I'm this size. This is so helpful.
Right.
So I ordered, like this red pullover, and I'm like, this is going to be my Christmas. I tried it on, and I was like so disappointed. I'm like, why doesn't it fit like the other ones? And
it's because they have different fits.
Right.
And if you don't know to ask or to look for that, it's going to fit you completely differently.
It's a very expensive lesson.
Yes.
So now I know that.
Yes. Yes.
No, that's good. So, all right, for our listeners and audience here, tell me about your book. They picked up your book. Where can they get it, and what are they going to learn?
Sure. They can find it on Amazon.
Okay.
It's very easy to find. I wrote it because I just hit my 200th blog. I've been writing for years, and when I started speaking for corporations and businesses, I really did a deep dive on all the research behind clothes and the effect they have on you, because a lot of my clients are financial advisors, accountants, lawyers, and they want to see the data and the hard facts. I don't want to be the mom that's saying, don't wear that. That's not appropriate. I want to be the person that says, hey, look, here's all the research and data that says what you wear impacts your productivity, your sales, your collaboration, how you're showing up during the day. And so I started putting all the research and data together, and then I interweaved personal one-on-one stories of clients that I worked with over the last 10 years. Nice. And it kind of all made sense. And then it really allowed me to talk about, hey, it doesn't have to be about brands. It doesn't have to be about spending a lot of money on clothes. It's about what works for your life and lifestyle, and how can you show up authentically on branding with confidence. And that's really what it's about, and how that can be a game changer in your business to help you get to that next level, whether it's in your personal life, your professional life, whether you want to be a manager, a leader, a team lead, a C-suite, whatever that looks like. Maybe you just, want to feel more comfortable in your skin. What you wear has a big impact on that.
Yeah, I like it. So definitely, pick up the book.
Yes.
Read,
learn
about
Amazon. It's a quick read. It's like 100 pages.
Nice.
And
I love it. And what if they decide they need more help and they want to hire you? Can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I work with clients one-on-one across the U.S., in the UK, and in Canada, and they can find me on my website, turnkeystyles.com.
Okay.
And I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm out there every day networking and getting to know people.
All right. Well, this isn't a topic that, I give, a lot of thought to, but as you kind of dig down, it's like, wow, just all these trade-offs and it's expensive, and it's really important to get right, and it can hold you back.
Yeah.
From maybe even reaching, kind of the next level of success.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It can.
Thanks
for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Being authentic in your appearance is just as important as showing up to work. Great lessons today. As always, success speaks loudest when based on values. Thanks for listening.